What reforms, if any, would you support concerning the regulation of campaign contributions for circuit court candidates?
Yes, public confidence in the judiciary depends on the belief that decisions are based on the law and the facts, not on who contributed to a campaign. That makes transparency in the judicial campaign financing especially important. In Oregon, candidates are subject to disclosure requirements that allow voters to see who's contributing, and that transparency plays a critical role in maintaining accountability and trust. If reforms are considered, I would support efforts that strengthen transparency and reinforce public confidence. At the same time, any reform should be approached carefully because judicial candidates must still be able to communicate with voters and run viable campaigns, particularly in contested elections such as this one. Ultimately, my focus would be on conducting my own campaign with transparency, integrity, and respect for the role of the judiciary.
I think Oregon's unique in a lot of ways in campaign finance generally, and in the fact that circuit court positions are an elected position that can be financed, and I think that creates all kinds of underlying problem issues that could arise, right? I think that if I recall that the voters passed a campaign finance reform years ago, and I think that the legislature kind of cut that off and is dealing and kind of made that less viable or kind of took away from what the voters really wanted. Oregon's also unique that they have this system where we have the referendum and we can pass laws that by voting. And I think the main thing a judge can do is enforce the law, right? And that's the judge's duty really, is to enforce the law that's on the book. But I think that campaign finance is an important thing, and I think that anytime that there's the potential for individual who's a judge to be influenced by finances that are coming into their campaign, that's a problem. And so I would enforce the laws on the books, regardless of whether those have gone through the legislature or not. But I think or gone through the process of the voters. But I think ultimately, as a judge, you can just enforce what's there.
So the Oregon Code of Judicial Conduct strictly regulates how campaign contributions are handled. For example, I cannot directly solicit a campaign contribution, nor can I directly receive one. This minimizes or eliminates the appearance of bribery or impropriety or bias. I not only do I support that, but I also support the more recent changes to campaign finance laws that were passed by the legislature back in 2025 that will be enacted in 2027, which will significantly limit how much money a judicial candidate can take from either an individual, which is approximately $3,000, up to approximately $15,000 from other political organizations. I think it's important to ensure that people aren't bought or have the appearance of being bought. And by limiting campaign contributions, I think that's a necessary step to ensure that people think that there's fairness in the process and fairness in the result.